Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to our video tutorials on maths tuition videos on 11 plus topics. Today we're going to be covering fractions tuition, and this is the part one of it, series of videos on fractions. So let's get started straight away. Okay, so we are on our video screen, our whiteboard here. This is the book where we're using Life 11 Plus Maths Guide. You can get further details on this book on where to get it on our website, lifechangetuition.com, or go to Amazon and search for the book there, and you can buy that book there. So we'll spin up the notes. So let's go to this notes here. So let's zoom in. So we'll go directly how the book's covered it, and we might divert and just give it further explanations on it. Notes are quite simple, so but if you can, try to, as you're watching the videos, make some simple notes as we go along. So the first thing we cover is what is a fraction. So a fraction, if you take notes, fraction is a whole divided into equal parts. Okay, so I think the most important thing it's divided, but it's got to be in equal parts. So make sure you do that. And we've got some examples in the book. One where they're shading 5, 6. So a whole is divided into 6 equal parts. So the bottom number tells us how many parts it's divided into. And the top number tells us how many are shaded. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. I'm going to go a bit more tricky. So this is where you have, let's say, do slightly different one from the book. Let's say this whole is divided into 8 equal parts. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you are asked to shade in 3/4. Okay, 3/4. So how would you do that? Well, first of all, the bottom tells you you choose four parts. Okay, choose four parts. So they've got 4 parts there, and the top number tells you how many to shade it into, how many you should shade into. So if I shade in here, so choose the top 4, and we've got to shade in 3. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, then we'll choose a different 4 parts. So we've got bottom different 4 parts there, and we're going to shade in a different 4. So let's choose a different color. Okay, so in total, how many have we shaded in? We have shaded in 6. If you look at that, 6. And how many boxes are there? 8 in total. Okay, so, and they give an example here. On this bit here, they've given an example of how they do shade a third over 6 boxes. So if you shade a third, you'll have two shaded in. So 1, 2, 3. So shading 1, 2, 3, change in a different box. So change one there and then 1 there. And that should equal 2 out of 6. Great, okay, so that's fine. So let's move on to the next bit. What is this called? When we have 2 fractions the same, we call it equivalent fractions. So if you're making notes, so make sure you copy that. These are 2 fractions that are equal. Okay, 2 fractions that are equal. Okay, so 2 fractions that are equal. So make sure you write those notes down. 2 fractions that are equal. So here, 3 over 4 is equal to 6 over 8. Now, how does that work? So let's again use the mouse. Let's choose red here. To get to here, it's getting bigger. Now remember, this bigger means times. And if it's getting smaller, you have to divide. So it's getting bigger, so we times. What do we times 4 to get to 8? We times by 2. Now the top is what we call a copycat. It copies the bottom. The top and bottom both copy each other. Copycat. So copycat. Okay. So it's just like in the diagram here. So if you times the bottom one by 2, you have to times the top one by 2. Okay. So if you times the bottom one by 5, you times the top one by 5. Times the top one by 10, you have to times the bottom one by 10. And that's how we do equivalent fractions. Let's go back to the notes again. So the top copies the bottom copies the top. Okay, so that's worth again highlighting there. Okay. And so hopefully you're making notes on that. And let's move. And then now the next thing is simplifying fractions. So we've just done equivalent fractions. Now we do last topic in this today's video, equivalent fractions. So equivalent fractions is when instead of timesing we have to divide them. We have to make the fractions. We have to make the fractions more simpler. Okay, so put here simplifying fractions. Okay, so instead of timesing we have to divide. So let's give an example. Choose. Let's do 4/8. Okay, we want to make that simple. We want to simplify that or lowest terms, as the book also says. So to do that, we have to think of whose times table are both 4 and 8 in. They're both in the 4 times table. They're also in the 2 times table. They're both in the 4 times table and the 2 times table. Now we want to go for the biggest number to divide them, so we always go for 4. So divide top and bottom by 4. Don't forget the copycat. Whatever you do to the bottom, you do to the top. So if you times the top one by, if you divide the top one by 4, you have to do the bottom by 4. So 4 divided by 4 is 1, and 8 divided by 4 is 2. So that simplifies to 1.5. Okay, so just to quick recap, let's go to notes. So here, instead of multiplying, you have to divide. And whatever you do to the top, you have to do to the bottom. Okay, and you have to ask yourself which number divides both into. So they used the example here. Let's look at an example here. They used the example 4/16. Whose times table is 4 and 16 in? They're both in the 4 times table. They're also in the 2 times table, but we choose the highest. So you divide both top and bottom by 4, and that simplifies to 1/4. Let's look at other examples of what they've done here. 5 and 25, whose times table are both in? They're both in the 5 times table, so you divide top and bottom by 5. And 10/40, both in the 10 times table, so you divide top and bottom by 10. Okay, great. Okay, so we've done, in this video today, we've done what is a fraction, equivalent fractions, and simplifying fractions. Okay, see you into the next video.